in the next 5-10 years. But we got Keiron Boyce with us, absolute savage.
Nice to meet you.
Dog.
Nice to meet you again.
Yeah.
In a less savage environment. Come back.
I ain't come back since. Because when that big unit landed on my knee, I said,
Who was it?
I'm done. Ben.
Ben.
He landed on my knee and I thought, that's me out. I'm out. I wasn't even playing football or anything. I was like, my knee was just...
He was a big
It was pain. I was in pain.
He ain't that heavy, you know.
What do you mean he ain't that heavy? He's a unit.
He's like 90 kilos.
That's heavy.
How have you?
I'm 84, but that's... But
6
no,
kg.
it's not... But I'm just... If I landed like on it... But he's quite flexible, to be fair. But...
I am pretty flexible.
Yeah, it's flexibility key in Jiu Jitsu.
Flexibility can play a big part. A lot of people set their games up based on body composition sometimes, you know. So if you've got really flexible guys, there's lots of submissions, especially like the 10th planet system in Jiu Jitsu, which really kind of, you know, they lean towards, you know, they're more beneficial to the flexible guys. They start doing crazy submissions like go plata and things like that.
Because that Eddie Bravo, he has the rubber guard, didn't he?
Exactly.
And that's like, his legs are so, like that.
Yeah.
The rubber guard, I'll put a photo up for people watching, but the rubber guard's like, you have to be flexible to put someone in the rubber guard.
And funnily enough, one of our newer lads, white belt, you know, Kobe, he's got that kind of mad leg situation.
Weird
we was at a competition a little while ago, and it cracks me up because he's one of those lads, even his first day at jiu-jitsu, even before he came, he'd told a mate of mine, he said, yeah, I've got a friend, he reckons he's a really good grappler. Oh, yeah, is he trained now? He ain't trained. I'm like, what? He goes, yeah, but he reckons he'll be able to hold his own and against some of your good guys. I'm like, oh, okay, come on down. Got ruined in his first session, naturally. But anyway, he was in a competition a little while ago, and he did like a go plata in the gi, which is where you like bring your leg around in front of their guy's neck and grab your foot around the other side and kind of like pull their head as you're pushing. You've got to be flexible to do that shit, man. My knee would pop.
Yeah.
Thinking about it, my knee would pop.
Yeah, that sounds mad.
He's a weird grappler, man. He's always trying something.
Yeah.
He's always trying something.
And this was like in his first couple...
The competition was like in, I think it might have been January, the competition. Yeah. But he's been training less than a year, maybe just coming up for a year.
Well, I didn't even explain it properly. It's Keiron Boyce, obviously. Are you the owner or founder of 210 Jiu Jitsu?
So Aaron and I are joint owners of 210 Jiu Jitsu. That's right. Yeah.
In Luton, and it's one of the best clubs like in the area and like in the UK, isn't it?
Well, it's nice of you to say so. We've done well lately, but there's many different facets to it. Do you know what I mean? We are just a small independent club. So on that basis that we are a small independent club, we're doing quite well. A lot of other gyms, you know, they're affiliations. They're affiliated to someone, to like a bigger school or a brand or whatever. We ain't. We're just, like I said to you earlier, we're just 210. We're just a bunch of guys that have got hold of a few mats one day, put them on the floor and said, look, come on, let's do some stuff. We started with kids, actually. We started with kids training out at, the movement place, Liam George's gym. So before that, it was called Team Complete. They had a little room. We just started teaching kids in there. We only had my kids, Aaron's kid, a couple of other people's kids, literally like 8 kids in a room, and then slowly it grew. So when you first started your like martial arts journey, because obviously did you do Muay Thai? Yeah,
Judo?
So you got kickboxing in a bio.
Yeah, so I've done a bit of everything really. I started as a kid. My granddad was a boxer, so he was he was picked for the Olympic team in I think it was the 60s. Was a teammate with Henry Cooper, and he got me into boxing when I was a kid. But he used to have his own little gym in the garage, get me hitting the pads, chucking the medicine ball at my belly, all that kind of what you'd expect the old guy. Yeah. He was proper old school mentality. You're not hurt, come on, get up, let's go, which obviously rubs off. But he didn't want me to actually get into boxing. He obviously was too close to it for whatever reason. So he kind of pushed me towards karate, and then I started karate as a kid. And I stayed doing karate for years until girls come along, you know what I mean? And then I wasted a good 10-year period doing nothing apart from playing football, playing basketball, and, girls and whatever else. You know what it's like.
You just got sick of that.
Early, probably, I would say, maybe from 13, 14.
Yeah.
I stopped. basketball like mad, literally all the time playing basketball. Yeah,
I can imagine you playing basketball.
yeah. Trust me, come 1-on-1. It's a wrap. It's a wrap.
I couldn't imagine you playing basketball.
Yeah, so I spent a lot of time playing basketball. I carried on playing until my first son was born, basketball.
Yeah.
But then I've always played football as well because it's what lads do.
What was that
innit?
like on the joints playing basketball a lot?
Yeah, it's all right.
It was all right.
I didn't, to be honest with you, I didn't get no injuries as a kid playing basketball. No, finger injuries from, stubbing the ball and stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's all right.
And what did you get into after then? What age?
So when my son was born, my first son, he's 19 now. I stopped playing basketball and stopped playing football, and then new parenthood, working out how to be a dad, working out how to be a breadwinner. I mean, we were living in some little skanky flat, which we'd bought, we'd struggled to buy and whatever else, but there's a lot. So I was like, I need a hobby. I need to get out and about, nothing to say that home life weren't good. Home life was great, but it's just,
You need to channel energy.
Exactly. Because I used to be being active the whole time. My granddad was a professional athlete. It was one of those things where I thought, okay, what can I do? I'm used to doing something. I've always done something. And then I went back coaching football. So coaching kids football. I'd done my FA coaching badges and stuff. And I coached the kids football team for about 11 years. And one of the kids in the team's dad taught Thai. Because I did karate as a kid, I was always take the piss out of him, saying it's nothing, no problem, Thai. Do you know what I mean? So he was like, just come down to the gym. One day I just went down to the gym and then started back doing Thai. I did that for about, 3-4 years. And that was at Storm. It was Jerry Jackson who was teaching at Storm with, it was at the time when a lot of them bad boys were there. Because Tate was there, Dave Wilmot was there, Dale Hardiman were there, all those guys around the same period. They were a bunch of killers. Mate, I wasn't one of them. I was the punching bag, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it was a good time to have been at that gym.
It's funny you say actually Dave Wilmot, because that's who Roberto, he's their head coach at the Bristol gym.
Yeah, that's right.
He's one of the people that we're quite close. He's like the head coach at their gym.
It's funny because Dave was in a year above me at school. And he lived on the same road as me as we were kids growing up and walked to school with him and things like that from time to time. And when I see him at the gym after Jerry had invited me down, I thought, okay, yeah, this is something. And his level, like just sparring with him a couple of times, I was like, fuck, this guy's serious. Some kicks on him, boy. He only tapped my leg and I'm like, internally, I'm like, I don't even know if I'll be able to walk tomorrow. Do you know what I mean? Just from those shin kicks. So that's kind of what then drew me into Thai. And then, to be honest with you, I then went back to karate from Thai. I weren't ever going to have no Thai fights because I was, at that time, I must have been 30, 31. I've missed that boat, you know what I mean? So I started back up karate, did a few karate tournaments, then I did kickboxing because it's pretty similar.
Yeah.
Yeah, got my head kicked in a few times.
Would you do fight competition?
Did competitions in kickboxing. It was no low kick kickboxing, no. So it's like more sport kickboxing at the time, which is, like silk pants. You see them?
What Tate was doing for like a few of his fights, because I've seen him in them like long trousers.
Yeah,
that's what you said. Body head, isn't it?
Yeah, but I was obviously nowhere near that level. I'm just like a dad doing local tournaments at that point. You get me? Yeah. It's good fun though. It's good fun. And then I thought, fuck this. I need to do some grappling. I want to get involved in some grappling because where I was working. Have you met Babs?
He was here today.
Yeah. So Babs, I was interviewing for people to start at my place, and he had Brazilian Jiu Jitsu on his CV, and I was thinking, okay, he's got the job. This guy's got the job. I hadn't even met him. I already knew he had the job because he had Jiu Jitsu experience. I wanted to get into Jiu Jitsu. So when Babs started, I was like, Babs, talk to me. Where are we doing Jiu Jitsu? And he said, yeah, come along. And I was a little bit like, how I described Kobe earlier? I'd already said to Babs, don't matter who I'm going to take out your guys. He's like, no, you won't. I said, yeah, I will. Trust me. Yeah, honestly, it's the mentality of stupidity, really. Yeah. I'm like, because this was back in the day. There was no black belts or nothing around back then. No brown belts. Our coach was a purple belt. This was in, this must have been about 13, 14 years ago.
Yeah.
Maybe 13 years ago, yeah. And Babs was like, yeah, come down. Now I walked in and thought, the coach ain't even a black belt, man. What's going on at this club? I didn't know shit, really. I just knew that I needed to do some grappling. Because at Storm, I'd done a couple of MMA classes, but at the time, their MMA was basically still kickboxing. It weren't really... no one knew what they was doing. There was no grapplers at the gym. Not really. So I thought, okay, I want to do a bit of actual grappling. And yeah, man, first session, rolled with a bunch of these guys that I expected to be able to get the better of to fucking put it on me. Probably with a smile on their face, you know what I mean? Not even a serious thing, yeah. And I'm like, oh shit, this is serious. I thought I'd be able to, because, you know, I'm a bit of an arrogant prick at times. Growing up, loads of fights and all that. I always thought, I'm not bothered about fighting, it doesn't bother me. And when I was rolling with these guys, I'm thinking, Russ, it is serious.
There's levels to it.
They know what they're doing. And these guys, some of the smallest people you think, and then you start tumbling with them. You're like, oh,
they're like, they'll have their way with you. They want to have their way with you, where you can't even go nowhere. And it's like, this guy's like 20, 30 kg lighter than me, and he's just twisting me up.
It's insane. Do you know what really got me to stick to it though? I remember I'd been about 3 or 4 times, and I said to Babs, right, I'm going to go and do like an MMA competition now. Because back then they did like MMA competitions, like Grand Prix or whatever. You'd have multiple MMA fights in a day, or in a comp. Do you know what I mean? Like a comp format. I don't know if they still do it now. I haven't seen them, but pretty mental and pretty dangerous, really. And I said to Babs, I'm just going to go and do a competition now. Done a little bit of groundwork. I'm going to go and enter one of these competitions. And geezer, my first fight, the guy just got me in a headlock and held me in a headlock. I was so mad. I was so angry. I was thinking, what the fuck? This bastard just held me in a headlock for the entire... Luckily, it was in rounds, do you know what I mean? So, yeah, the first round was over. I didn't have no one with me. I literally just went there on my own. I had my kids with me, my 2 sons, and my mate, who don't know nothing about nothing. And he was just watching my kids in the corner. Literally, while I'm on the mat, scrapping with some dude that's just got me held in a headlock.
That's mad.
Oh, mate, it was insane. It was fun back then, do you know what I mean? It was fun. And then second round, I thought, I can't let this guy get me on the floor because he's just going to sit on top of me again and get me in a headlock again. One of those weird things. And then, yeah, from there, it was just, right, okay, no, I need to get into more grappling. I need to up my game. I can't have someone keep me in a headlock for a whole 5 minutes. That's just nonsense. I think it was 3-minute rounds, actually. So, that was it. I stopped everything else for a little while and I thought, fuck, let me concentrate on jiu-jitsu for a period.
And you're a black belt in judo?
Black belt in judo.
The judo come after the jiu-jitsu, didn't it?
Yeah, so I was a white belt in judo, white belt in jiu-jitsu, and my boys had just... So my youngest son, my wife had been taken into a judo club for a good couple of years. And I said to her, let's get him competing. So he was competing from young, from 6. You met my youngest, long blonde hair.
Yeah.
So he's been competing since he was 6, while my other lad was playing football and I was coaching. And then one day, my other lad said to me, I don't want to do football anymore. Let me do judo with Kelso. I was like, oh, thank God. So for me, it was great because I thought, okay, can stop coaching this club now, can focus on what we're passionate about. And now I've got both my boys into like a combat sport. But you know what it is? I was taking them to competitions everywhere. And I'm coaching. I ain't done judo. I'm coaching from a white belt BJJ perspective. So I was like, okay, let me start judo. So I did, at the same time, I did judo. I started Kyokushin karate. I don't know if you've heard of this. It's like a full contact style of karate. And I carried on with Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and I dropped everything else, just focused on those 3.
So was you just training like 7 days a week?
Bruv, yeah. Literally just train every day. I said, I've got an amazing wife. She's really supportive and understanding. And she knew, if I don't do that stuff, don't forget, I'd pissed away my 20s. In my opinion, I'd pissed away my 20s. I had mad fun, but there was like the lost era. Do you know what I mean? And when I mean that, I make it sound, I had a kid at 20, I think I was 23 when I had my son, so I don't mean it was wasted, but I mean, I didn't do nothing seriously. So I thought, okay, let me just try this now. So I was in my early to mid 30s, started judo. My first ever judo session, I always remember this. I said, okay, I want to sign up now. How do I sign up? The first day, the guy said to me, you won't get a black belt. You've left it too late to get a black belt. There's the first words. Imagine that, you're going into a gym.
Yeah.
And the first words out of the coach's mouth. I looked at, he was wearing a brown belt. And I thought, okay. And I think he actually had a blue belt on at the time. Blue belt, because he got a brown belt later. So I thought, there's this blue belt coach and he's telling me that I won't get a black belt. He's measuring me by himself. Do you know what I mean?
That's nuts, isn't it?
He's measuring me by himself. So I thought, fuck that. So I just went out, thought, fuck it, let's just do some competitions. Let's do, because in judo...
And that's how you rank up in judo, isn't it? By competing.
You can go out and compete, go out and
is that karate as well?
Nah. Karate depends on where you go. Karate, they're basically, here you go, mate.
Oh,
here's your belt. learn
so you
your
can just
kata.
rank up.
Learn your kata. Karate, yeah, you can get your black belt in 2 years in karate. In some styles. You know, I don't judge that. Karate is a bit of the Wild West, really.
And judo's like you have to beat someone with that.
Judo's
belt.
regulated, yeah. I mean, to get my black belt, for instance, you have to accumulate 100 points. So you have to, and the only way you can accumulate your points is by winning by ippon. You know what ippon is? No. So ippon's like, you know, like you got dashed earlier onto your back. Was it you that got through earlier on today? Who got dashed by Dolan today?
Dolan's a big guy, man.
Dolan's
He's a big guy.
He did a clean judo throw on someone. Was it you?
Yeah.
How can you let that one? Yeah. You know what? You didn't tell your brother.
He didn't talk about that one when he got home. He talked about all the other ones.
So
I got dashed.
yeah, it was clean though, wasn't it?
It was clean.
It was pure clean, pure technique. But that's the beauty. That's the beauty of judo. But anyway, yeah, that's an ippon. You landed clean on your back. Man followed you to the ground with control. That's an ippon. So you got to win your fights by ippon. Another way you get ippon is a submission or with a pin for 20 seconds. So when you're going out and you're fighting, these other guys are also aiming to win by ippon. Whoever gets the win gets the 10 points, and you got to get to 100. So it can be a madness. You got everyone just going all out because they want their belt. They want it.
And how many points could you get in like one competition? Like, say if you won every fight, like how many points would you get?
So there's a couple of ways, right? And this in a judo circle is the first question when someone sees you a black belt. Normally, once you know, it's an arsey thing, but they do it. So, how'd you get your black belt? That's the first question. How'd you get your black belt? By lineup or by theory, or by comp? No, say competition or theory. Say competition.
What's theory?
Theory is like if you're over the age of 30 and you don't want to compete, you can like do a written exam and all this kind of other stuff and show the techniques.
Yeah,
because not everyone's capable and the body is fucked, you know, at a certain point.
So they've
made allowances. Because what they've said is, look, we're not going to stop your progression, and there's nothing to say that you don't know the syllabus and the theory and could be a good coach or could be a good teacher. I personally, I don't know how I feel about it. I'm not the biggest fan of it. I prefer the competitive way. For me, there's only ever going to be one way. And then if they say to you, oh, you competition black belt, you say, yeah. And they say, next question, line up or points. So line up is where you turn up. If you win your first two kind of qualifying fights by ippon, you get put into a lineup. A lineup's where you fight three guys in a row, no rest. 1, 2, 3. You got to win all three of them by ippon. Or points is where you accumulate 10 points per win over a long period of time or a longer period of time. So they're the two. They're the way everyone wants to line up. Everyone wants to win that shit by lineup.
Yeah, because that's that doghouse.
Yeah, Judo is pretty.
That's pretty savage.
You know, yeah. You know that people, if they say, yeah, you've done it by lineup, and oh, okay, fine. Then you know, okay, that guy's got something. You know, you're gonna, yeah.
Well, yeah, because that's like that shit you kind of see in the movies when like one man's just taking on 3-4 man. He's the fucking man now. Do you know what I mean? He owns his land.
Yeah,
that's his fucking land now.
But it's not like fucking Wing Chun films, you know, where they're all running from all angles. No. It's all organised. It's one at a time. You fight someone, you beat them,
move on.
Then the next guy comes on.
Yeah, but these are fresh guys, though.
So what level are these guys that are like?
They're all the same as you. Everyone is the same as you. They're all going for their black belt. They want to stop you because they get an extra 10 points. They might not get their lineup today, but they get their extra 10 points. Right. And normally what the examiners do is they do what's called the most difficult journey. So in one of my lineups, I did a lineup twice. I failed the first one. And then luckily I got an opportunity the next time I went for a grade, and I got my 2 wins and got another lineup. But my first time I fought, two guys were over 100 kilos in my lineup. And I weighed in that day 73 kilos. And I was thinking, fucking, two big units.
So there's no weight classes for the lineups?
There is and there isn't. It's like hardest route possible. All depends on the examiner you've got, how he feels like setting you up, what their situation is, as in how many fights they've won, etc. But normally... Yeah, they make it as difficult as
you won it by
possible.
lineup?
I won mine by lineup, yeah.
This is his house. This is his house now. By lineup. Flipping flat belt in Jiu Jitsu.
Do you know what?
You're a lethal weapon. You're a weapon of mass destruction.
No, man, I'm getting old. It's good. It's all good fun, though. It's all good for the soul, good for the mind.
But I feel like people that are like... Pure, like you're a weapon, really. Let's be realistic. Really? You are a weapon. But people who are a weapon, they don't go and abuse being a weapon because I don't feel like you can get to that level without the discipline.
Do you know
discipline.
what? I used to say that as well, but there's some real arseholes now that are starting to. Yeah, I think a lot of these martial arts keep people humble. You know, they keep people humble, but people slip through the net. Do you know what I mean?
I think there's going to be outliers, but I think like the amount of even combat sports athletes we've had on this podcast, maybe like 40, 50. I've not one of them I could have come out and said he's a prick. Like he's a bit of an arrogant prick, or he thinks he's this and that. Like they've all been like nice.
There's probably just a select few of them that are just wild.
Yeah, it does humble you, because put it this way, Rain, you're a trainer now, yeah. There's a certain something where you got swagger, you got confidence, you know who you are, you believe in your own ability, and then next thing you know, you're rolling with like some 17-year-old who's like, you're like, fuck, this guy's a bit fucking
dog.
Yeah. And all of a sudden, you're like, it's humbling.
Yeah, it is.
It's humbling because you're thinking,
that old man tapped me today.
Yeah. Did he tell you?
He didn't. He didn't tell me.
Come on, tell this story.
Yeah.
Tell the story.
He's getting me off.
Who was it? Is Ian, Reese's dad?
Yeah.
Reese's dad's a bad man.
57. He's turning 57 next week. And I was on top of him and that, and he just tumbled me, and then he just gradually got my arm.
And the thing is, you knew he was going to do it as well, wasn't it? Like, I was telling him, I'm going, Rain, he's going to grab your arm. Connect your arms together to stop him. Rain's like...
when you're in the competition mindset, it's just completely different, because you're seeing it in real time. He's telling me, I know it's coming, and it's just like, I couldn't get it.
You couldn't do nothing.
Nah, and I only had a minute left, and he done me. But again, that's just part of the learning of it. But it's humbling, because it's like, there's so many layers to it.
Yeah.
And this is what I've realised. This is what I've had to step out, because I'm like, I don't know shit. And because going to the competition, I want to do my best to my ability. And because I don't know shit, I have to you have to go there to know shit and go through them experiences.
And that experience though is what humbles people, I believe, and what keeps people grounded. That's why all my kids are in martial arts. All of them. My little girl, my two boys, they're in. My little girl beats up the boys at her age in the class.
Yeah.
Triangling them, sweeping them.
Do you think it's important?
She does BJJ as well?
Yeah, she does BJJ and Judo.
Do you think it's important for to put your kids through like some sort of martial art?
Trust me, I got the rules in my house were always, you will always train. I say it to my 19-year-old son now. I said to him, listen, while you live here, and even when you don't live here, to be honest, but 2 sessions a week minimum. I won't allow anything else. I don't care if you've got football. I don't care if you're going to watch football. I don't care if there's girls. 2 sessions a week minimum. That's minimum. And I'll always enforce that as long as I can.
Why do you think that's so good for like their growth?
Well, I'll give you an example. So my eldest, when we moved from Luton over to Flitwick, within the first, I would say 6 months, he got into like a big fight at school. We never had a fight in Luton. Never. Move over to Flitwick, and you got some of these little weirdo kids out in the villages, and they think that they're bad.
Road men, and
they don't understand.
They don't.
So I'm like, it was weird, because I was thinking, how can some little Flitwick kids or like
Luton mentality.
But you understand what I'm saying? Because it's just one of those weird, and that's not to say, and there's a little bit of arrogance and whatever else, because of course there could be some absolute bad boy in wherever. But my point is, they were like the Flitwick roadmen. Do you know what I mean? The Flitwick versions of these roadmen. And my son, you know how he dealt with it? The kid come into him and kept getting in his face, and this is what makes me laugh, because it's, again, hey pussy boy. This is the little kid saying it to my son. And Parker was trying to move around him and try and walk away, being the bigger man. And he wouldn't let him. So Parker literally just, the throw that down, didn't you? Parker did it to him.
Judo throw.
Dashed him down onto the floor.
Yeah, it hurts bad.
Dashed him down onto the floor.
Out of you when your back hits that man.
Landed on top of him, and literally 3 licks. Boom, boom, boom. Let go of him. Got up. Next kid comes in, smacked him. So he got into
your man went through a lineup. Lineup. Wing Chun style.
But do you know what? He come out of that. Cool.
Yeah.
Didn't have a scratch on him. Those kids thought twice about anything happening, again.
Well, they'll think about it in future, doing it to anyone else again.
That's my point. Yeah. So my belief, why do I think the kids should do it? If all the kids do it, you got this. One argument is you're weaponizing, little fuckers. But for me, I think the humbling part comes into it, because like when you're at school and who's the hardest in the year? You must have had that when you guys were at school. I know I'm older than you boys, yeah. But when we were young, who's the hardest in school? Oh yeah, he's the hardest in school. Why is he the hardest in school? Don't know, because everyone says it.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It's because everyone says it.
Yeah.
I ain't never seen him have no fight. Do you know what I mean? Why is he the hardest? And he thinks he's the hardest. Do you know what I mean? But if all the kids did that some kind of martial art, even through the schools, you know who the fucking bad man is.
Yeah.
Because you do it in PE. So that ain't he's the hardest. No, he ain't, because little fucking William just dashes him and suffocates him and chokes him and armbars him. And,
Yeah,
do you know what I mean? So that's why I think it's more of a natural leveler.
What about discipline as well? Because I played rugby growing up, and that was massive discipline for me.
This discipline for sure. Even and actually, I think it keeps the kids are learning without understanding they're learning, and I think having that learning mindset. Look at how much you're saying to me now. You need to learn all these techniques and whatever else. If you're an academic, you can apply that, I think, to fight science. Do you know what I mean? Look at a lot of the UFC fighters now. Look at Charles Oliveira. You can't tell me that he ain't, like, he's a geek, isn't he?
Yeah.
And I think that comes from, that.
A lot of them jiu-jitsu people.
They are.
That Mikey
Musumeci.
Yeah.
He's like, you
That's
would
what I'm
never
saying.
think it, and he would just tie you.
No, but I think that's the other thing with combat
Ryan's a
sports
geek.
as well. Yeah, and Gordon Ryan, actually, just quickly, he was on Joe Rogan. He was saying that when he's not training, he's watching. Because he said a lot of people in jiu-jitsu don't do the mental part of jiu-jitsu and watch and learn and kind of break down things and learn it in your head before you start doing it. And he said he does it all the time.
I do.
What's their trainer?
Yeah.
Danaher. Yeah. But it's like he said he was like academic.
Bro, he's
or
next level,
something.
though, isn't it? It's like some kind
And
of.
it's mad because he I don't think he's ever competed, has he? Or he did.
So I think that's what
younger
people
age.
say. Yeah, it's like there's not much known about his kind of competition background or whatever else, but he's a fight scientist.
How he breaks it down.
Yeah,
Like, I
it's
watch
pure
a lot of videos
science.
and he breaks them down so clean.
This question: do you think that somebody has to be in like comp when they're growing up to be able to be a good coach, or can they?
Nah, I don't think so. To be honest with you, I think it's a little bit like boxing. You know, like a lot of these boxing coaches. Do you know what I mean? They haven't got the greatest of boxing records, a lot of these guys, but they can produce great fighters. I think jiu-jitsu is a little bit like that.
Freddie Roach.
Yeah,
he's the prime example.
exactly. And I think jiu-jitsu, if you understand the sweet science, we'll say about boxing, right? The sweet science. The same with jiu-jitsu. I think same with MMA. If you can understand that, I think that you can be a good coach. And plus, the other thing is, especially in MMA these days, no one's really a purist anymore. Do you know what I mean? So you can be like a grappling coach in MMA and not have competed in MMA. I think.
I think sometimes
You know?
people can understand the motions, but I think you can learn a lot. Well, for example, you're a coach. Has it helped you a lot teaching people?
Oh,
Because you can see things that.
So when I was
teaching,
teaching, when I first started teaching the kids, I was a blue belt, I think, and I believe that me having to break down basic techniques and explain it to a bunch of little kids helped me actually appreciate the techniques more, understand the techniques more. So I think that did make me, a better blue belt. So I definitely would attribute helping out with the kids and then taking over the kids' classes and things as one of the drivers for helping me advance in my own game, for sure.
Was
Definitely.
was you still working like a job when you were doing all
Bruv,
this
I'm still
training?
working a job now.
Yeah. What do you do if you don't
I
mind me
work in
asking?
IT, software engineering.
Software engineering.
Yeah, so I'm still working now. Yeah, so I work in London. So I'm lucky enough that where I work in London, pure luck, there's a Roger Gracie Academy round the corner. So I just used to go there every lunchtime, every morning, no compromises. Train lunchtime, train morning, come back to Luton, then I'd train at Moorfire in Luton. Doesn't exist no more, but train Moorfire in Luton on Mondays and Wednesdays. Then Thursdays and Fridays I'd be at karate and judo. So I did that consistently for years. And then, even more luck, the Roger Gracie Academy moved, and it moved into my building where I work, to downstairs.
Flipping hell.
So it was like they moved to the ground floor of the building complex that I'm on. So it was like it couldn't have. I was very fortunate, and plus, you'd think that's luck in itself, right? But the gym at the time, we had two of the top UK guys, so Ross Nichols and Jed Hugh, both training in there. So I was like their regular training partner for both them guys. So that helped me develop, quite quickly as well. Very lucky. And they were there every single lunchtime without fail. We'd do 2 hours of training.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How long did it actually take you to get up to your black belt?
I trained, so I got my black belt. I think I got it in either 2020 or 2021. I always forget. I think 2021. And I started in like 2011, 2012. So like 9, 10, 11 maybe years. Yeah.
Do some people just get it quick? Does it depend how many times you're training as well?
Yeah, there's not really like a set, universal formula for it. But the thing that's good and the thing that keeps jiu-jitsu true is that it's like your professor will be the one that will bestow the next belt upon you. You know what I mean? Ain't no real tests or exams or nothing like that. I mean, there can be, but generally speaking, it's when they feel that you're ready. So, having knowing that there's no real pressure to pass an exam and all that kind of stuff allows you to be free with your jiu-jitsu, concentrate on just training, and then the belt changes colour. One day the belt just changes colour. Do you know what I mean?
It's like a natural process.
Yeah.
It's a natural process without pressures.
That's right. And that natural process only happens when you're putting the time in on the mats. So there ain't you must do X 100 hours and X 1,000 hours and whatever else, but it definitely helps. A couple of the lads now, they started in March last year. Now it took me, I think, 4 years to get my blue belt. A couple of the other lads that have been training with us probably got four stripes on their white belts already. They've been training a year, but that's because they're hitting it like 8 sessions a week. Back when I started, that 8 sessions a week didn't exist, and our coach was a purple belt. He was a bad man, but he wasn't even that long into his own journey.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Of jiu-jitsu. So the world has changed now. So I think you're going to see that change.
Sport.
Yeah. And you're going to see that change reflect in jiu-jitsu. Look at 210 now. We've got, I can't remember how many sessions a week, like 13 sessions a week or something. When I started, there was 3 sessions a week. When I started training, there was 3 sessions a week. And there was no black belts around. Now at 210 alone, we've got 5 or 6 black belts that regularly come and train with us. And in 210 itself, we've got 4 black belts.
What do you look for when you're going to give someone their belt? Like, do you look for how long they've been training? Do they have to beat the other belts around them? Like, what do you actually look for?
Do you know, it's the general rule is not really a linear path, and everything's a little bit different. So you only really, from my perspective, this is the thing with jiu-jitsu, right? My criteria and Aaron's criteria, although I'm sure there's a hell of a lot of overlap, there might be different things that both of us look for as well. And the good thing is for me and Aaron is we back each other up completely. So if one of us is like, I don't think so, the other one's like, cool, no questions. Do you know what I mean?
Trust each other.
Exactly. Until we we both see what we want and we're like, okay, cool, let's do it. But there's not an exact formula. It's how are you compared to you 3 months ago, 6 months ago? Are you actually doing what I believe is giving 100% of your potential? Because people come along and like anything, like some people, they like to talk and say they do something. Yeah, I do MMA. And because it's great, isn't it? Oh, I do MMA. But what do you do in MMA? Go to a couple of classes, ain't had no fights, do you know what I mean? It's like, you don't really, I know you do, but equally you don't. And that's the same thing. So are people coasting along, or do they really want it? So I won't give a belt to no one that's coasting. And I won't give a belt to people that are like patchy with their attendance. For me, if people are taking like chunks of time off, injury is different. If people are taking chunks of time off due to interest, as far as I'm concerned, every time they come back is day 0 again. Yeah, because that's how I had to do it. It's 4 years for me, mate. I'm going to give something out easily to someone after a year if they've not actually put that effort in. Because there's minimum requirements set by a governing body that have to be met. Which is one thing, but that doesn't mean you have to give it when the minimum requirements are met.
What are the minimum requirements?
So it's like time served. So like,
is it every 4 months?
I think no. Judo can be every 4 months.
Okay.
But in BJJ, from white to blue, I think it's a minimum of a year. From blue to purple, I think it's 2 years. From purple to brown, I think it's 2 years. From brown to black, I think it's 1.5 years. Something like that. I might have those slightly wrong. So it's, in theory, it's possible for you to get your black belt in 5 years. But that's someone that's training every day, 3 times a day, but they will be worth their belt, because if they ain't worth their belt, they don't get it.
Well, if you put that much time and energy into something, it's It's hard not to be.
yeah, if you're training like that, are there people you might not know, but are there people giving out padded belts, do you think? Because a lot of people say that about certain people with jiu-jitsu, like they're black belt, but are they really a black belt?
So do you know the problem is? So what I will say in my experience, right? There's what a black belt is, and then there's the perception of what a black belt should be. People think that black belts are undefeatable, infallible, whatever. That's not true. Everyone has an off day. Everyone has a shit day. Everyone can get caught by something when they're mucking around. So that aside. But generally speaking, yes, the belt should hold true. But don't forget, there comes a time where, especially now, black belts are getting older. Competitors are getting younger. Look at some of the 16-year-old kids that come through. My son, as an example. My son's been training for 10 years. Do you know what I mean? 10 years.
He's put time.
And he's 15. He's 15. Because I started him in Thai when he was 4. Do you know what I mean?
So man weren't messing.
I know. But funnily enough, he can't strike to save his life either now, my youngest son. I always wind him up because he's like, I want to do MMA. Like, you can't strike, mate. So I need to sort that out with him, but he's a great grappler. But
you send him down to McGowan.
I know. I need to get him. He wants to do it, but he's focused on getting his judo black belt.
Yeah.
Him and my oldest are both.
They're not far from it.
They're going around competing at the moment, fighting grown men. Literally about a month ago, my 15-year-old son, who weighs about 55 kilos, had to fight like a 90-kilo 40-year-old man. And he beat him.
Yeah.
Beat him by a hold down. A 55 kg kid holding
must
down.
Be so proud,
mate.
Like,
I was sitting there buzzing.
Like,
you built an army.
I was sitting there buzzing. And then my other son's doing just as well. You know, they've both got 50 points. They're both halfway to their black belts. They both had a lineup each. They both fell short in the lineup. They both said to me after their lineup, Dad, I didn't realise how hard them lineups are. Because they were knackered after their first fight. Proper, like, gassed, done. Like, that's why, you know, it's why you want it. You want to win it that way. Like, yeah, I do. But you don't always get the opportunity, do you know what I mean?
Going back to you giving out the belts,
Yeah.
what was the process of you, like, being granted to do that?
So how it works in jiu-jitsu is you can give out up to the belt below your belt. But what you can do is so Aaron and I have both got different professors. So Aaron's under Mancina at London Fight Factory, and I'm under Cesar Lima at Grand Union. And you have to have, so in order to give out a blue belt, you've got to be a purple belt. In order to give out purple, you've got brown belt, etc., etc. Now, in order to give out a black belt, which is where it gets tricky, especially these days, and especially with independent gyms, because I can't give out a black belt, and nor can Aaron. You have to be a second degree. And to be a second degree, you've got to wait for 2, 5, what was it? Maybe 8 or 9 years to have passed, something like that.
You have to be a black belt for 8 or 9 years before you can give out black belts.
Yeah.
So if there's people
to
like
get the second degree on your black belt.
Second degree. I think so. I'm trying to think out loud.
So does that just work with time then? Once you've got black belt to get a second degree and a third degree.
Belt, yeah. So black belt's different for judo. From judo, you got to go and fight again to get your next downgrade.
Yeah.
BJJ elapsed time. As long as you're training, elapsed time gives you your degrees. So I think it's 2 years, 3 years, 3 years. If I'm not mistaken, it might be 3, 3, and 3.
So what would happen if someone was nearly ready for their black belt? Would you have to send them to another professor or take them to your professor?
So, which is effectively what I'm doing. So I've got one of the lads that's been a brown belt for as long as me, as long as I was a brown, or he got his brown belt around the same time as me. We was trying to work it out the other day, actually, me and him. I'm not sure if he got it first or I got it first, but it was roughly around the same time. And but he unfortunately he can't train as often. But he's been coming down to London with me periodically and training with my coaches. I've taken him to see Ross Nichols, he's now at a Nogi gym, to roll with those boys, and I've also taken him under Cesar Lima at Grand Union to make sure that they can see or they know who he is, etc. Because when the time comes, obviously conversations got to be had and shit.
And they'll have to grant him.
So it'll be me and Aaron that can award it, but it's under supervision, if you like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, was you? Obviously, there's a big there's a competition coming up.
Yeah.
210 are the holders of the competition. Are they the holders of the competition?
Yeah, so it's a funny one. So yeah, there's a competition come up in Milton Keynes. The last time the comp ran in Milton Keynes, we took the team trophy home, and we'd love to do the same thing
Is
again.
the team trophy because you accumulate the most points in like throughout?
Yeah,
any
so
team?
it's like most wins. Obviously, the more you win, the more points you accumulate, and at the end of it, whoever's got the most wins gets the team trophy.
Are you allowed to compete as well?
Yeah,
You and
yeah, we
Aaron?
compete.
Oh, you
So
compete
last
as well?
time, no, I'm not competing there. Last time we had Jermaine compete. He's one of our black belts in it. And who else did we have? Adam, he's one of our coaches as well. He's brown belt coach. He competed as well. But this is going to be a busy, messy day. So that's the funny thing is when you've got a load of students there, I don't know how these coaches can. I don't know how they do it. My hat off to them. It's hard. I've done it before, where you're coaching, and then you got to go and compete, and then you got to go and coach again, because you need to get in your own zone. Do you know what I mean? You need to get your own frame of mind right, rather than oh shit, quickly jump on the mat. Which I didn't enjoy that, so I'm not a big fan of competing at the same time as my students.
What's your expectations for the competition?
To be honest, it's just about experience and progress. I want everyone to know a bit more and understand a bit more about what it is to compete, and to also then get a true reflection for themselves, as much as me, is about where their jiu-jitsu is. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because we're talking about, it's not all about grading, but when people are, let's just say they're the alpha white belt or whatever, in a gym, their expectation would be in a competition. You think, yeah. Really, they should be fighting for that gold medal. You know what I mean? That's what should happen. The best white belts from the gyms that are going to compete should be competing with the other best white belts and fighting for them golds and things. So I always think it's a good barometer for those people that do consider themselves in the top tier. Everyone does it. It's natural, right? You must have done it already, Rain. You must have looked around a room and think, where do I stack up in terms of who I spar with, who's going to get the better of me, who am I going to... Exactly, and it's natural. So it's just about doing that with people that you don't know, with game that you don't know. You can roll with someone now, you roll with them 10 times already, you know what they're going to do. You start to work it out, and soon it comes to like a stalemate. In a competition, you don't know what they're going to do. You don't know their game.
It's like it's who wants it most,
and who is the most technically advanced, strategically advanced. There's a hell of a lot of strategy involved.
Does it say if you've got a few people in the same weight classes? Is it like a pyramid setup where it's like you're on different bits of the thing and everyone builds up? Will
so
people from 210 have to battle it out with people from 210?
Yeah, we have had that actually. And as you've got, when you get lots of girls, so we did grappling industries in London in December, which is like one of the biggest London comps, and their format's fantastic because even if you lose, you don't go out, you stay in the pool and you do round robin, you fight everyone else in your pool, and then the people that come out on top go through to the next, gets put into another pool. So normally at white belts and blue belts, especially at adults, there's dozens of people, so 210 are in separate pots. But in this one our fighters just kept winning and kept winning and kept winning and kept winning. And it got to a point where they were both through to the semis and they were on opposite sides. And the organisers didn't want that, because what happens, they do a stalemate for the gold. So they put them on the same side for the semi-final match, which was a bit of a shame really, because we wanted them to fight out. And they were good lads. They just had a laugh with it, just got on with it, and was like, yeah, no defaults here. Let's just go for it. We weren't going to... Some gyms paper scissors rock when their fighters come up to each other, you know what I mean? Or they'll have an agreement.
What do you mean by stalemate? They won't fight and they just... Yeah,
some gyms, I mean, a lot of the rules now in comps have stopped that from happening, but some gyms, they'll already have what they call like a closeout or a shutout. So me and you might have an agreement, look, if we meet each other in the semis, you had the last one, I'll have this one. You'd be like, okay, cool. And then I'll advance to the final without burden on my body. Meanwhile, these other two guys are killing each other in the other semi-final.
Oh, so it's being a little bit strategic.
It's hard. It can be.
If you want to get them points.
so they will DQ you if you do any of that. So our guys were just having a laugh with it and mucking around. And one of them, I think he play slapped the other guy, and the referee weren't having. He didn't think it was funny.
He disqualified him.
He didn't disqualify him, but he threatened to. We was like, no, they're mucking around, and he don't want to see no mucking around.
You said the refs are pretty brutal, weren't they?
The refs can be quite just shut off and disconnected and very matter of fact, which I get it. They have to be, because otherwise they're going to get everyone trying to talk them round. What do you mean, ref?
Yeah.
Come on,
They
surely
don't-
you
they
saw
don't
that.
want
Oh
that.
yeah, okay, 2 points. They can't do that.
Yeah.
Is there a big respect factor with the refs and the fighters? Like, you know, within rugby, it's quite like, sir, you can't say nothing to him.
Yeah.
In football, it's like the refs are kind of getting smacked off.
Do you know? It's a weird thing because in the local comps, you know, and the UK has got a lot of local and regional comps for BJJ. There's comps everywhere. There's multiple competitions every weekend. You could compete every weekend for the year if you wanted to. And because of that, there's loads of refs, but there ain't loads of black belts refs. So a lot of these refs are blue belts or purple belts, and it can get quite awkward because sometimes you'll get purple. It shouldn't happen, but I have seen it happen multiple times. Purple belts will be refereeing a match with black belts in. The black belts know more than the purple belts, and it can get a little bit awkward. And
So do you have to have a belt to ref?
Yeah, you have to be.
Oh.
You have to be a jiu-jitsu competitor.
Yeah. I suppose it's better like that. To be fair,
There's like minimum requirements. Like you
Yeah.
got to be a player.
do you have to in other other things like Muay Thai and all that sort
I
of
don't
stuff?
think so. To be honest, I don't know. You know, in judo you do. You have to be.
I think it makes more sense.
Minimum standards.
Yeah, that makes a lot,
Makes
more
a lot of
sense.
sense.
In Kyokushin karate as well, you do. You can only be a ref if you've got your black belt actually. So it's one of the requirements to get your black belt is you do the referee's course, which I think is fantastic.
Yeah. Would you want to go into any sort of reffing or anything like
Nah,
that?
I can't. I need to do the refs course because some of these rules in jiu-jitsu can get so confusing, as you see earlier, when you think something's happened and it ain't really happened, but you're like. So
Baffled.
I need to go and do the referee's course at some point.
Just so you know how to teach people.
Yeah, and to get my IBJJF certificates ratified, you have to have done the refs course. So I know I've got to do it as part and parcel of that anyway.
Yeah. What's your kind of like 5-year plan for 210? Like, where do you see
When
it
did
being?
you start 210?
Oh, yeah,
When did we start 210? 210 started in 2017, and we taught kids up until 2020. It was just like a kids club, and loads of the dads, because me and Aaron were obviously training at our own clubs. So I was training in London, Aaron's training in London.
So how did you two meet? Did you meet through jiu-jitsu or just know?
So there's a bunch of us that all used to be part of the same team called Morefire in Luton, and then that team kind of people went their separate ways, and yeah, like a load of us stayed in touch. Politics, there's loads of jiu-jitsu is one of the worst sports or martial arts for politics. There's loads of politics. You can't talk to them, you can't train with them, you can't wear that t-shirt, you can't wear that patch. Me and Aaron were like, yeah, don't want anything to do with any of that, so we're just going to do our own little thing. So we just set up 210
What made
completely.
you come up with the name 210? It's actually a pretty good name.
It's got a ring to it. I kind of like it.
It's in homage to our previous coach. Our previous coach would do like a 210 workout on us, just basically kill us for 210 reps. You know, you get to 100 and you think, oh, I can stop now. And he's going 101, 102, 103. And you're like, then you go all the way up to 200. And guess, well, because you know what it is if you got to 200 and went 201, everyone would be like, oh, right? So he was testing us to see if we'd all moan at two. You know, it gets to 101, everyone's like, oh, because you know it's not over. You get to 201, everyone's silent, bro. They ain't doing another 100. Do you know what I mean? So it'd stop at 210.
That is good. That is good. I like that.
So when me and Aaron kind of left that club, we wanted to pay respect to our previous coach. So and he was always there for that 210 mindset. So we called it 210.
No, that's wicked.
Brilliant name.
What? Obviously, you work with other gyms. You work with legends.
Yeah.
Oh no, I'll go back to it. You work with legends.
Yeah.
What's your opinion on working with other gyms in the area?
Mate, this is one of those things where why let politics ruin people's opportunities and why limit your own opportunities and your own network? So Faisal that owns Legends, Faisal, I've been pad partners with Faisal since day dot at Storm. So you know when I said you was training at Storm, Faisal and me were main partners at Storm, so we'd pad each other. And that's how I got to know Faisal. Faisal was the one that put originally the idea of MMA in my head, funnily enough, anyway, which then led to Jiu-Jitsu. So as soon as he started his MMA career properly, he stopped doing as much regular Jiu-Jitsu and he focused more on his wrestling, and he already had an amazing back. He was a great BJJ competitor, Faisal. So a lot of people just know him from MMA, but he's
a big boy, though, isn't he?
He's good.
Big back.
But yeah. He's good, strong.
He's set for wrestling.
Proper technical. And during he always had a plan to set up Legends, and because we've stayed friends forever, he wanted to get some jiu-jitsu going at his place. So we all agreed, you know, we've got Babs and Jermaine that you know, they teach over there with Faisal, and we've just kept it as a friendly bunch. So, you know, Faisal comes and does his no-gi with us when he's in camp and that, and we've just genuinely been friends since, you know, 10, 12 years.
Yeah.
And not just me with Faisal. That's the good thing, is I knew Faisal separately from how Aaron knows Faisal. Do you know what I mean? It's nice because you've all got your own little kind of sideways links, but it all wraps around. Yeah, exactly. It all comes back around together.
That's good though, because you've got a few people who do the jiu-jitsu there that are going into mixed martial arts now as well. So they'll go to Legends to do the mixed martial arts and then come to the jiu-jitsu. So
that's it. And that was the aim.
Yeah.
That was the aim. Yeah. Just don't let, because if someone else had been doing jiu-jitsu there, we don't know, but any other school, there's a chance that they're like, I don't want you cross-training your jiu-jitsu. Your jiu-jitsu is under our brand. That's what happens in a lot of with a lot of cult gyms. But, you know, we were happy to just...
Open-minded philosophy.
Yeah, exactly. Happy to continue sending people in both directions. And anyone that wants to do MMA with us, we're like, yeah, go and check out Faisal. It's no-brainer.
Yeah. And back to, obviously, your kind of 5-year plan for 210. Like, where do you see it being in the next 5 years?
So, the reality is, we take it as we go. We only started adults classes after lockdown finished. And we ain't one of these big gym and big business and whatever else. We're just running as a club for the people that want to come and train with us. So this ain't no big, we're going to get a skyscraper and we're going to brand it 210 and then there's going to be 210 aeroplane. We're just not bothered about any of that. We just want to continue to offer a place for people to come and train, feel included, which is the good thing about 210. The amount of people that we have visit us now that have either seen us at comp or heard of us, and they're like, yeah, I'm passing through that area, I want to come and do a training session with you. The reviews that they leave are amazing, and they always go on about the culture that we've cultivated. So to be honest with you, I don't really want to change too much because I don't want to kill the culture and the vibe that we've got. Our aim was to begin with, after lockdown, was some of the dads whose kids trained with us wanted to do jiu-jitsu. We used to send people to another club. So when the dads used to ask us, we'd say, yeah, go down the road to, I won't mention the gym, but go down to X gym. They do them there, tell them that we sent you because we're friends. You know, we thought we were friends with everyone. And then
politics.
Yeah. Well, yeah. But the reality is, you know, more and more dads were asking, and then because we weren't travelling to London as much because of COVID and whatever else, you know, I started up a little lockdown gym, you know, just you know, under the covers, behind the closed doors, training, and a bunch of us from different gyms were all training together. And the reality was, me and Aaron were going, you know what, these guys, they all want to train. None of them want any politics. We should just start up some adult classes proper, because we was only doing, I think, once a week before. So come out of lockdown, we said, right, we'll do 3 sessions a week. Take it from there. So 5 years' time, hopefully we've still got a good comp team. That, again, was just a byproduct. We're lucky. We've entered 2 teams as a comp, 2 comps as a team, and we've won both of them. So to us, me and Aaron are extremely proud of everyone. So we just hope that we can continue to have these, you know, small little wins here and there. It would be nice to get some of the guys, if they feel up to it, stepping up to that more elite level at the IBJF and AJP comps. That would be nice, because they're the serious comps. But primarily, have an environment people can come and train, not feel threatened, not feel forced, not feel coerced. You know, it's like you go some gyms, you feel like, oh shit, I've got to do this, I don't really want to do it.
Yeah.
We don't, none of that.
No, because I thought, like, from the outside looking in, like, oh, it's going to be quite like a ego. Everyone's going to have big egos and it's going to be like hammer. And when I was there, everyone was like really welcoming. You felt welcome, like you felt at home, like straight away.
It feels
from
like
the
a
first
family.
Yeah, it feels like a family.
And that's what we want. We want everyone to really connect. It's such a cliche, right? But these cliches have origins. And in this instance, we just want everyone to feel relaxed and want to come training. So far, so good.
No,
has it grown bigger than you thought it would?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, when we started with the first adults class, it was like maybe 5 adults and a couple of the older kids. And me and Aaron were thinking, not a bad first start, and slowly but surely people just started coming. I genuinely don't know how or why, but people,
I think it's the
people started
philosophy
coming.
though, like the foundations you and Aaron have got and the way your perception is on life, it relates in training. Because I come there that first no gi session, I was just like, I felt like at home.
Oh, that's nice.
Everyone showed you what do, everyone's speaking to each other. It's still competitive, but it's just like I felt like,
Yeah.
man, I could see myself being something if I carry on following these steps.
That's what it's about, providing, like we said earlier, you know, with the collab with Legends, that it's just about providing opportunity and a place for people to have a platform. That's what we're doing.
Would you ever want to get to the stage where you're not working and you're just doing the jiu-jitsu gym?
No, I don't want to do that, because then it turns into a business. I don't want to have it as a business. It's a headache. Do you know what I mean? I've got a job. I'm sure it would be fantastic, but the transition and whatever else, and the threat of it would turn something that's enjoyable into something more like work.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And I don't really want to. I don't want it to ever feel like work. I want to go there and be happy to go there, not go there and worry about if we got this ordered, if we got all of these, and do you know what I mean? I just don't want the business mindset.
What happens
to come
if it
in.
just keeps getting bigger?
To be honest, we don't advertise or nothing. Everyone that comes,
No.
You man's trying to keep it small, but them classes are a bit packed out.
I know.
I think it's your outlook on life though. Yours and Aaron's outlook, like it's inevitable to attract people.
Yeah, maybe.
And I think it's because you're not pushing it to be like that. Then it just naturally is just getting like
It's
that.
because you've got passion.
But do you know what happens? I tell you, right? In jiu-jitsu is real. When people get their blue belts, they disappear. So it's like a little bit of a revolving platform, and they don't all disappear forever, but they all start to. There's almost, because a lot of people when they start, their ambition is only to get a blue belt because they think the rest is too intangible, too far away. So what happens is we might have 30 people on the mat every class, but those 30 people change because people cycle out. Do you know what I mean?
They challenge somewhere else.
They cycle out. It's almost like I've achieved that bit of jiu-jitsu, or actually shit gets real when you're a blue belt because people don't give you anything. They don't give you no leeway.
It's more technical when you're there, isn't it? It's more like...
Because people are different. Like for me personally, if I roll in with a white belt, normally 9 times out of 10, I don't submit white belt, so I just won't bother. And that's not out of disrespect or nothing, but
you know your ability.
What's the good? What good can come from you going and laying it on someone as a black belt and smashing them? They're going to be like, oh, I'm not going to go back. I don't want that to happen to me every time. Yeah. So I'll work with them and have fun with them. And exactly. But lower belts, purple belts, blue belts, no, that's your fair game.
Yeah.
Especially when the ego's switched on. You know what I mean? You get people that come in and they think they go gym or they run marathons and they're like, yeah, I can do this. Do you know what I mean? Then the purple belt, he's only been training, maybe 5-6 years. So he's thinking, this upstart that's coming in, trying to use his aggression and power. No. I'll show him. This is what I was saying to you about belts. You know, like you thinking, a white belt shouldn't be able to have a blue belt, and a blue belt shouldn't be able to have. Like none of that is true. We will always, when we work with people, give people opportunity to get things. You know what I mean? And leave an arm out to see, do you know how to get this arm bar? You know, there's a school of thought where a lot of people will not give that. And don't get me wrong, I won't give it. Yeah, but there is. So no, I don't. I don't. I let people get into position and put myself. And every now and then, of course, you can get caught because you've let it get to a point where there's no return. They're 95% there. Do you know what I mean? The rules on the wall in 210.
No.
So we've got rules that are laminated on the wall in several places, and one of them is no boasting. And you find out that happens as you go up the belts more often than not. You won't hear high belts talking about who they've subbed. They just don't do it. They'll have a little conversation quietly with their own higher belts. Do you know what I mean? But they ain't going to go, yeah, I went to this gym, I smashed it.
Well, they say that, didn't they? Like in mixed martial arts and that, like you don't talk about sparring because it's training. It's not
real.
Not physical.
Yeah,
it's like when
real.
we actually done the competition set is completely different.
Exactly.
It's completely different. I was just like, I don't even know what to do. I'm trying to figure out what's my game plan. Next thing you know, someone's just taking you down, tapping you. Like,
but you know what? You did well because you didn't know what to expect before coming in, and that just gives you a little. How many did you have? 3 fights
today.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And 3 losses.
3 losses.
Yeah, and it's humbling, isn't it?
it's sort of like, yeah, I
Like,
think
fuck.
because now last week I deeped it. I was like,
Because that's not even survival. That's like 3 losses.
yeah, like last week I was thinking, I was like, I don't know nothing. I've got strength and power, but it's like, I don't want to just be having strength and power because that can get me to a certain bit. It's like, but what else can I do?
Yeah.
And now I'm at the point where I'm like, not panicking, but I'm like, it's going to be in a couple of weeks and I want to do the best of my ability. So now I'm like,
But you
fuck.
just got to trust the process.
Yeah, I
and
know.
you enter in that competition, even if you go in there and you get taken out straight away.
Yeah, I don't expect to win, but I
part of
still
the
want to
process.
just
I know, it's natural. Isn't
Yeah,
it?
I know, I
It's
wanna give
natural.
it a
Everyone wants to
good
give it their
go.
best. But like I said to you, you got to think defensively first.
yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, there's a lot to it, man. I never thought how much nitty
Is it
gritty
your-
bits.
Is
get
it your
into
favourite martial art out of all the ones you've done?
Yeah. It's my true passion.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, like, it's like, I think of it as art. You know, I know it's a martial art, but, you know, everyone has a passion for art. And life is about art, innit? It's not about going to work, and it ain't about it. Life is about art. When you break it down, what do people enjoy in life? It's normally the artistic
Like
things,
creativity.
creative, travel, you know, all of this kind of stuff. Freedom, expression. For me, that's what I get out of jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
It's yeah. So that's, and the good thing is jiu-jitsu, you can do it forever. You can do it
I don't know
forever,
how people keep saying this.
Joey
I
Diaz
don't know
still
how-
does it. Look
Yeah,
at
I
him.
don't know how people are saying this though, because every time I've gone, I've got fucking
Joey
injured.
Diaz, chubby.
Every time I've gone, I've got injured.
But you know-
Thumb got fucking absolutely
I've gone through a phase
fell under me, and my
where-
whole hand was swollen. I couldn't pick the paintbrush
I've gone
up.
through a phase where
Knee
now
was
I feel pretty
written
alright.
off. I think you do have to get over that, the pounding of what it feels like, and you have to keep going.
so
But
like-
I kind of got injured, and I was
But
like,
I'll tell you why that is.
sunk into the
That
fucking
means
bush.
that you came with aggression, though. That's
Yeah.
all that'll mean. When you rolled, yeah, that's what it'll mean. I'm telling you.
Yeah.
Because what happens is there's like a hierarchy, and when someone sees, let's just say I'm a white belt, I've been training 3 months, and then a new guy's walking in the gym and he thinks he's bad. He's good naturally. Rain, on your first day, all aggression. Yeah, it was all aggression.
That when we were doing the wrestling, that's
Yeah.
when I was like, I love this game.
Yeah, it was all aggression in it, and all physicality. Because
yeah.
you're like, I love
Now-
this.
Now I'm completely opposite. Now it's like
Exactly.
trying to be technical.
And it's natural when people first come in, that's what's natural. And then they get put in their place by technique. Because don't forget, there's a lot of guys there that have also got aggression and they've also got physicality, but they've got technique too.
I actually got injured as well. Actually, funny saying that. The only time I actually got injured is by being aggressive. Now I've been quite like not passive, but just coasting and getting through it. I feel fine.
maybe it was me.
Huh?
Who thought that? No, Dunk done me in prime, but he didn't do me. I went to post on my hand, and my thumb just went,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
it just swelled up my whole. But Ben's one was my fault, to be fair, because I done something that I can't even fucking do. I was on my knees, and he was trying to get me in like an arm bar. And instead, I thought, let me go back, because if I go back, he's going to have to come with me. Obviously, he's come with me all the way. My left leg got stuck under, and my back went to the mat.
Oi.
So I was like, when it happened, I was like, that didn't feel good. That did not feel good. And then that was that. And then we were rolling after me and you, and
Yeah.
it felt all right rolling. But after that, it was like,
He just
once it kind of settled
smashes
down,
it,
it was
man.
the knee to bend it out was like, I didn't feel like I could bend it out properly or anything for like a good couple of weeks.
You're right now though.
Yeah, it's getting better.
Monday
yeah,
then,
yeah. Nah.
Monday then, yeah.
What do you prefer more, gi or no gi?
I prefer no-gi. I prefer no-gi more. I think there's something a little bit more primal about it. You know, people have been wrestling since the dawn of time, innit? So don't get me wrong, I love gi because it's really technical, but now no-gi, now that leg locks are the thing, there's loads of technical facets to no-gi as well. It ain't just about people smashing into each other anymore like it used to be. So yeah, I think I prefer no-gi. Plus easier to survive in no-gi. I'm getting old. I need that survival.
Yeah.
That is mad, isn't it, man?
Is
It's
there,
a mad sport.
is there any others on the list you got or anything like that you want to touch on?
I just want to ask you, what's your top 3 fighters of all time?
Top 3 fighters of all time.
Oh, mixed martial artists, we'll stick with that. Maybe not.
Oh, mixed martial arts. My favourite mixed martial artist has always been John Jones. Like, how can anyone not like him? I even like the fact that he's a shithouse. Do you know what I mean? I can't help it. In any sport, I always like the guy that's just a little bit loopy. That's why I always used to love Dennis Rodman. He was always my favourite basketball player. Just these guys that are just...
Don't you think you have to be a little bit loose?
Yeah, yeah, and look at, there's some similarities with Rodman and John Jones. You know, like they go out on
They
it,
get wild.
they come straight to the game or straight to the fight, tell you that they ain't slept and still smash you. So Jones is number one. Second, I always used to love Lyoto Machida because I loved his karate style. You know, just no nonsense, pure karate. He's a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt as well, I think, which obviously, you know, helps. And then after that, I don't know really. I don't know. Those are the two that I've always been, you know, fans of. I would say probably one of them, the smaller like jiu-jitsu guys, just because I like it to see, you know, jiu-jitsu prevail. So you can't beat obviously UFC 1 and Hoist just using jiu-jitsu against everyone and them not knowing what the fuck's going on, because that proved it in its purest form.
So do you think jiu-jitsu's like the elite of the elite? Like, you don't think this Russian wrestlers that are coming from Dagestan are like got one up on the jiu-jitsu?
So I don't know really. A lot of their groundwork from those guys is jiu-jitsu anyway. Do you know what I mean? Just because they do it in sambo or whatever, it's the same. A lot of it is the same techniques, but they're wrestling now, of course. Fucking sick. It's sick.
It's more suited to MMA, I think,
Yeah.
because of the fence. Because you can keep them on the fence and
Yeah,
all
they've
that
definitely
sort
got a
of stuff.
system that's awesome. You know, their handcuff that they use around the back to control while they're smacking him in the head at the same time whilst mounting their legs and try. Yeah,
It's like it just suits for fight.
It's like shit. Yeah, it's like it looks like the primo fighting style. But I don't know. It'd be nice. It would be interesting to see them. Who we had? We had Oliveira. Yeah, which was probably the closest we've seen, right, statistically. But then he boxed him up, didn't he? Did he knock him out? Didn't he?
Yeah.
Oh no, did he? No, he didn't. He submitted him, didn't he? Yeah, he did. Yeah.
But he dropped him.
He dropped
and then
him. Yeah,
submitted
that's
him.
what it was. He dropped him,
Got
stunned
him in
him.
a
obviously.
head and arm triangle.
Yeah,
I
that
think.
quick. He tapped quick as well, didn't he? From
Quick.
that?
But I don't even know how Rogan was like. I don't even think it was that locked in. I think his squeeze is just so
Yeah, it must have
strong.
been.
It,
I remember
like,
that
just
fight vividly now.
crushed
Yeah.
him. Because you cannot be locked in sometimes, but you can squeeze so hard
Yeah.
that you can't breathe anyway.
Yeah.
Volk done alright against him though.
Look at
Yeah, he did. Yeah,
Volk
he was
missed.
comfy. He was comfy, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was.
No, you got no neck.
if he didn't win, there's a strong argument that Volk probably won.
Nah, I don't think
Do you
so.
not reckon?
Just for me personally, because when I think back at that fight, the things that I remember is just the control. Do you know what I mean? Volk was controlled the whole fight. Well, not the whole fight. That's not true. But I
But
can
in them
remember
rounds,
big periods
yeah,
of control,
yeah.
and the
I got
rounds ended with him being controlled.
He's being controlled, but he's getting some dirty jabs to the face.
I know, but
there
take
as well.
the end of the round out of it, like the UFC used to
true,
be.
yeah.
Bruv, you're gonna have an hour if I need to slowly work you to death.
Do you think control's like, because we've had this discussion before that we thought control maybe like if you're not doing as much, like if you're not on top, like mount guard, hitting down, or do you think it's like as
I think is more. Do you know the amount of times we have strikers that come to him? I always take the piss out of the strikers. Now, bear in mind, I've got a background in striking myself. All right, obviously not elite level or anything, but I started striking. I always laugh a little bit at the strikers sometimes with their naivety when they're saying that striking, because obviously there's a puncher's chance and all the rest of it. But when that distance is gone, what are you going to do? And I just always can't. I can never get past that. What are you going to do when the distance is gone? One of the lads that we train with, he come from a boxing background, and one of our other guys kept saying to him, come jiu-jitsu, come jiu-jitsu, come jiu-jitsu. So they started, and he shot a double on him, took him down, he whispered in his ear, "Where's your boxing? Where's your boxing?" I always thought that was a funny story. You know what I mean? It's like, where's your boxing? How are you going to get out of this? So, I don't know. Boxing's a beautiful thing in its own right. So is, like, look at K1 and Glory Kickboxing. They're beautiful to watch. But I always think...
When it's all mixed together.
I always just think, you grab hold of him, it's over.
Yeah. Especially elite
I think so.
wrestlers, yeah. No, 100%.
And there's something more... Anyone can punch anyone in the face, I think. But not anyone can keep anyone pinned down.
like I said, I'd have a better chance in a boxing ring than I would like coming to like jiu-jitsu, yeah. And I get
If you had to have a fight tomorrow, yeah, I'd be banking. I'd way prefer to go into a boxing fight, than like a hardcore jiu-jitsu.
And the thing is, as
Or
well,
wrestling.
jiu-jitsu, you are simulating murder, really. You know, when you tap, that's because you've got no other option.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? You don't have another option, which is why you're going, yeah, okay, you've got me. And that yeah, you got me. That is actually you signalling, if this was end of times and you had the last tin of beans, I'm going home with a tin of beans because you're dead. Do you know what I mean, though?
It is, caveman.
It's true. So that's why I think it's primal. That's why I was saying earlier about wrestling and grappling being primal. So I wouldn't say jiu-jitsu necessarily. I would say grappling in general.
Yeah.
You know, grappling.
No, I'm with you. And obviously, you talk about basketball now. You're an NFL fan as well, aren't you?
Yeah.
Las Vegas
Mate,
Raiders.
all the American sports.
Yeah.
I even like the boring ones, baseball and hockey.
I'm not a big fan. I've never really clicked with baseball. Hockey, I don't mind. I don't mind hockey, especially when you see them throwing down.
Yeah.
They throw down. They throw down.
They do, yeah.
And they let them go. That's always good. But what do you reckon for the Raiders this year? Obviously, Derek Carr's gone.
Do you know, the Raiders is one of those things where we've been miserable for so many years because nothing's really gone our way. Even when we've signed big players, they've ended up being a bust. Do you know what I mean? And you're like, what more can go wrong? We're offering like 10-year contracts to people that don't know what the hell they're doing and things. So I see it as I was never a Derek Carr fan.
Nah.
So I seen him play live, and even then, like I watch. One thing about me is I'll always watch every Raiders game, I'll always watch every Lakers game, and I'll always watch every Dodgers game.
Live or just in general?
I watch the full match. I don't watch it live, so I can't stay up to them times, but I will stay away from the score, and then I'll watch it the next day. And Derek Carr, for me, there weren't enough throwing. It was just boring. His style of quarterback was boring for me.
What? Who's your favourite player for the Raiders?
Do you know who it would have been? Would have been Antonio Brown.
Yeah.
Because again, he's just a nutter.
He's so good.
It goes back to those nutty people. Do you know what I mean?
He was serious though.
But I like Crosby.
Yeah, of course, Max Crosby.
Because he's like that stalwart who's just no nonsense
dog.
Do you know what I mean? And he's there for the team.
Yeah,
He's going to be a Raider forever.
And who was the guy? He's literally just left. They traded him, which I was surprised about. Darren Waller.
Yeah.
I was surprised they traded Darren Waller.
I don't know. I've not honestly. As the second we get to a point where we're not in the playoffs, I get in such a bad mood by it all. And this year's been terrible because Lakers nearly missed out on the playoffs as well.
Yeah.
So I was like, keep me away from all of this.
Well, because everyone was saying that, like at the start of the season when they had all the players in, and obviously Devontae Adams come, it's like they could win the Super Bowl. They could go all the way in.
No.
And then they got absolutely
Mate,
just wrecked.
Get into the playoffs. Get into the playoffs is stage one. But you know what? Now we're in Las Vegas. I'm going to try and go out there next year.
Yeah, I was going to say, have you been to the new stadium? Apparently, it's like it's serious.
I love Vegas.
It's called the Death Star, isn't it?
Mate, I just want to. I want to get out there. I want to try and sit in the black hole. I'd imagine it's nearly impossible to get tickets. So I'd have thought, I don't know, but that's one of my
mortgage
ambitions.
for them. Yeah, it's a mortgage for
yeah. So, but I'll do it, but I'm not going to do it when they're losing.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Waste all that money and then when they're losing. Yeah, exactly.
Well, you got Jimmy G.
Huh?
Yeah, Garoppolo.
But you know, the problem is there's problems or holes in every single team.
Yeah.
All of our teams have got problems. So it's like you need 3 or 4 years to recover from it. We need good draft picks. We're giving away all of our draft picks forever. Do you know what I mean? We need to trade for some back.
Trying to win now instead of trying to build.
Yeah.
Trying to build. Yeah, no, I'm with you.
That's the problem.
Is there any
like the Bengals?
Yeah, the Bengals. Yeah,
Joey B slinging it.
Who do you support?
I didn't support when I first started watching it. Obviously, I just liked JJ Watt, so I was kind of like rooting for the Texans.
Oh, okay.
And then he went to Arizona, so I was like, do you know, I'm rocking with JJ Watt, so Arizona, and obviously he's retired, so I'm kind of like in no man's land. But I do like the Bengals because I like Joey B and Jamar Chase. I like Jamar Chase, man.
I think last year, innit?
Yeah, like I'm.
It's a good way to get into so with basketball. When I was growing up, I always supported the Bulls. All obviously because of Michael Jordan. I'm lucky enough. I'm old enough that when he was playing was when I was into basketball massively. And then when he stopped playing, I was like, man, this Bulls team are rubbish now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But no, I always liked Kobe, but LeBron James, when he first come on the scene, because he was so young and so good from so young, I turned into a LeBron James fan rather than any team. And then any team that he went to, I got pictures of me and my boys in the States in Miami Heat jerseys, then in Cleveland jerseys,
Yeah.
and now Lakers. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
so
yeah.
I've followed
You follow
LeBron.
him, yeah.
I think
But
people
now
do
I'm
do
set on
that.
Lakers.
Yeah.
Person to ask then, who do you think's the GOAT in the NBA?
Michael Jordan.
Michael Jordan. You do.
It's
yeah.
not. It's
I
not a
think that's well.
discussion. It's not a discussion.
A lot of people are saying LeBron.
Hey,
Watch his
don't tell me you
documentary.
two.
No, I'm not.
The reason we got him up there. But
Yeah.
I'm not like a massive basketball fan really, but I did love that Michael Jordan documentary. And that,
Which one? There's been so many of them.
you know the
The
Last Dance.
Yeah,
the Last
yeah.
Dance.
That's it.
mate.
Yeah.
How could you
I know.
not be a fucking
I know.
Michael Jordan?
But he's
I'll go outside and start fucking shooting.
he's a
himself
legit
today.
dog. But that's the thing, right? He's one of those athletes that can inspire a generation. You know, they talk about that cliche, an athlete that can inspire a generation.
Yeah.
Michael Jordan. That's why there's not a conversation.
Yeah.
Kobe Bryant inspired a lot of people. I don't think a generation. LeBron not inspired a generation.
Well, Kobe said he wouldn't be where he is unless it was because of Michael Jordan.
I didn't even get to see my.
Very few athletes can inspire a generation. Look at
You gotta really
look
be
at rugby.
different.
Look at old Lomu, Jonah Lomu. He inspired a generation in rugby, and you've got these athletes every now and then in that niche field who do inspire a generation. Kids want to go and be that person.
You're a proper sportsman, innit?
I don't know about that.
Yeah,
He's an American. He is. Yeah. You're everywhere. Yeah.
I like competition.
Come on. The host.
Listen, he's obviously on for something. He needs that cool.
Nah, LeBron's. But people say that like it was so more rough when Michael Jordan was playing.
Yeah.
like they couldn't shoot threes because people would be like pushing on you. You can't really do. That's why they reckon Steph Curry, if he played in that generation, he would not be nowhere near the player.
That's one of the things that winds me up about modern NBA is that the game has changed. Yeah, you're either in the lane and scoring, or you're outside the 3-point line and scoring. And I hate the Warriors because I hate the way they've built a game around 3-point scoring. I just don't like it. I don't enjoy that. I think it waters down what basketball should be.
Why has all sports got a bit soft though?
I don't know.
It's all
Generation.
like, the generation.
That's the only explanation. Like football, I can't stand football anymore.
Yeah, I don't watch it either.
Now this John Terry, Vidic, Ferdinand, that was like the last generation for me, the 2013 probably. After that, it's pathetic. Football's like pathetic now to watch. Fouls that are not. If I touch you like this, that's not serious though. If I kick you this hard, that should not make another grown man fall over. So how can it be a penalty? But people be like, well, there's contact. There's contact. It's a contact sport.
I know.
I don't know, man. Football just
So many introverts. Like,
Yeah,
I think we've lost a lot of the
We have,
extroverts in sports.
but also men are weaker. So as a result of men being weaker, male sports is weaker. You know what I
The
mean?
T-shirt you're wearing today. Were there? Make men great again.
Make men again.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
I'm being real. That's not no slight at women and girl power and empowerment and all that kind of stuff. Feminist, no. But it's about making men the best of what men can be. We're being marginalised and pushed out to the sides, and people are afraid to actually be what they consider to be a man.
It's mad. There's even a discussion about it. Like we argue it because we both complement each other.
For sure.
A woman does what a woman does, and a man does what a man does.
I think it's because when people say
they want women to do what men do now. It's like,
I think it's because when people say like they want like if a man's empowering another man, I think women think that because you're empowering another man,
You're against
that
women.
automatically means that you need to be above women and women need to be
No,
dragged
that's
down. No,
what's
it can
crazy.
work parallel together. Like
Exactly.
Women should be empowered and men should still be empowered.
yeah, but the real women out there know. They know that. It's just these fake bitches.
It is because, and you know why? It's because, but I think it's starting to change a little bit. But people are so scared of being cancelled that they won't give their true opinion or their true mind.
A lot of people think what other people are saying.
Yeah.
That's why they're like the Tates and that are so popular because
Yeah.
people do.
And it just
They caused so much traction, didn't they? Like,
but it goes back to what I was saying earlier. They think you either really left or really right. And it's like no. Like as well, I'm not anti-women because I'm pro-men. I'm pro-men being men.
yeah.
I think if even the government was 50-50 in the middle and not so one way or not so the other way, like you even look at it from a politics standpoint, it's like Labour, all they do for 4 years is try and drag down Conservatives, and all Conservatives do for 4 years is drag down Labour. As soon as something happens, Labour are like, well, we wouldn't have done this, or we wouldn't, like, we need to kind of work together to make the country
ain't
better.
never
Like,
happening, though.
it ain't ever happening. It ain't. It ain't.
But I always look at it this way. I've got 2 boys and I've got a girl. I always tell my daughter she can be whoever she wants to be and be whatever she wants to be. I say the same thing to my sons. But ultimately, there's other countries out there. You get into whole conspiracies and shit, right? But ultimately, the way that we are being controlled, our kids are being controlled by social media, and in particular TikTok. And you look into who owns TikTok and how the algorithms are set and all that kind of stuff. There is a war on culture that is being played out on the kind of the West, which is being masterminded in the East. Do you know what I mean?
What they class
And-
is like a cyber war.
Mate, it's
Well,
crazy.
it's the best
'cause
way
you
to have a war.
You got cold wars, hot wars. and this is a cyber war.
They have set the seeds in, and this TikTok's a perfect example.
Perfect.
We're gonna fuck that algorithm up. We're gonna make all of the men afraid to be men. We're just gonna confuse all of them so that they're infighting. No, and then guess what? You know what? When it comes to it, and all those natural resources that there's only a finite amount that are needed, our country will get them because we've made them lot over there all not know what the fuck's going on.
Yeah,
You
but
know
that's
what
what
We're arguing
Russia
about-
and China.
Yeah,
that's
we're arguing about
it's a
they
game.
them.
I
And
mean? Yeah. Oh mate.
They're like.
They say that.
No, we're not
about
going to get into it, but that is we are arguing over the, like.
They
shit
say that
like
about the Roman Empire, and that's when they started imploding.
Yeah.
That's exactly what happened.
Yeah, apparently we
Yeah, I
show
read
all
something
the
like that the other day.
show all the signs that like the Roman Empire showed before they collapsed. We show all the signs like today. America and England.
But like you said, we've got weak men.
But
you
America
see
and-
China and Russia, and they're not with them laws.
And
They're fucking with them laws.
I know, and it's not to say that I don't disagree with any of them laws. I disagree with the focus on them laws and the smoke and mirrors that with the distraction.
There's agenda,
It's the
yeah.
distraction, exactly the agenda. And I don't want my kids to have to be, succumbed to any of this nonsense. So for me, I can do my own little bit. Let's make men strong, so that if shit does go wrong, we've still got a load of strong men that can go out and do what they need to do.
Yeah, 100%. Is there any more on the list that you have that you wanted to get off?
When you're going into competition,
Yeah.
like you're competing yourself, like what state do you get yourself? And what mindset are you in? Like what's
So it's different. I've competed in a lot of different martial arts, and the reality is, I get quite anxious. So I get high anxiety with competition. Not now really, because now it's what's the worst that could happen. But I was so set with I don't want to lose. I don't want to lose. If I lose, everyone's going to think I'm shit. So to a point where I thought, okay, if I don't do the competition, then I just won't do the competition. Then I can't lose, and then no one will say I'm shit. No one gives a fuck. No one actually cares if you win or lose. The fact is to compete. So how I then entered the last few competitions is I would enter it, I would not pay any attention to it, and then the day would come, I'd just go and do it. Like thinking about it is the hardest part.
yeah.
So
You're trying to play out situations in your head.
That's
that-
what I'm doing.
yeah, you are, yeah, because
I'm
you're probably thinking about it.
and that's why like now I'm being more reserved in training, and all that's happening to me is I'm getting put in positions and I'm just getting submitted because I'm thinking.
But I suppose that's
shit.
part of the learning of why you probably should
Well, yeah,
go
that'd be
compete, because
me,
then the
yeah.
next time you go to compete,
Exactly.
you won't do them same
They
things.
always say, like, your first competition, your first fight, it's like 3 months worth of training because you'll learn so much in that. And when you come home that night and you lay your head on the pillow, you ever done any combat?
I done kickboxing when I was younger.
So you had kickboxing fights?
Yeah, I didn't have none. No.
So what happens is when you have those competitive fights, is you come home, you lie down on the pillow, it's the end of the day, and you just run for everything in your head again. I should have done this, and why did I do that? And do you know what I mean? And that's your body and brain all processing it. And the next time you go to the gym, I think you've taken a load of learnings instinctively in, and you become a better person, and a better athlete in your.
That's when you
your
start to
given
like
discipline.
level up.
Yeah, I think so. I think you can. The competitors level up quick, man. There's a reason for that.
No, I love
Yeah, that it makes sense. Doesn't it? You got to go do it. That's
Yeah.
like anything in life. That's why it resembles so much of life. Like any type of training, it can resemble like life lessons. But alternatively, you have to go do it.
Yeah.
To learn.
There's no substitute for experience. That's what they say, right?
Yeah.
Can read a book? No. Go and do it.
Yeah, no,
So true.
It is.
It is.
But when it's all said and done with you, and you're a bit older, and your kids are older, and they've had their kids, how does Keiron Boyce want to be remembered?
Man, that's a hard one, isn't it? A good dad first and foremost. Hopefully, a good husband as well. And you always want to leave a little bit of a legacy behind, right? That's why I've got my kids training. I can't wait to wrap black belts around their waists, Judo and BJJ. And I'm hoping that they do the same for their kids. So that's what I'm hoping to leave behind. It's strange, but better than leaving them a watch or something, right?
Yeah, no, 100%.
You know what I mean?
You've left them a mentality, a mindset that can be passed down.
That's the
Well,
aim.
the mindset can take you anywhere.
Yeah.
That's what people don't understand. You
Ma-
give
make
people
them,
money
make
all
them
you
as strong
want.
as they can be.
Yeah, no, I love that one. And this is like the finishing question of the pod. We'll say it in your mixed martial arts career, because I know you'll probably just say your kids, but what's your most euphoric moment in life so far?
What, of all the different martial arts?
Yeah, of your martial arts.
Something that just comes to mind when you
sticks
like-
out to you.
Yeah, because you make it sound like I'm a mixed martial artist. You're like, in your mixed martial arts
Right,
career...
you do
No,
karate,
okay.
Muay Thai.
No.
Downplaying it.
All right, you're talking like traditional in terms of your traditional mixed martial.
No, just anything. You can pick
Well, yeah, but
jiu-jitsu.
euphoric moment
just,
could have just been like,
Yeah, your most
maybe
euphoric
just belting
moment
up, or just
in
something
life.
that stuck with you where you're like, raw.
and you think back to it, and it like kind of, you can feel it. It gives you the goosebumps now when you think of it, and you're like, fucking hell, that moment was amazing.
I would say getting my judo black belt, because the second you win that last fight, it's a wrap. You got it. So a lot of people, obviously, your BJJ black belt is harder to get. Define harder. It's longer. It's a longer road, you know. But when you win the last fight in your lineup, and you want it to win by a lineup, and you think, I've actually done it, that's the moment. Because I don't drink. That day I had a beer. Do you know what I mean? As an example. So I would say that's probably got to be in sports. You know, that's my most euphoric.
Well, once you took out that like third man, was you just like
Buzzing, man.
yes, because you know you've done it. Like it's done. Like you've just done.
Yeah. And I had a perfect set. I'm pretty sure for my lineup I had a throw, a hold down, and a submission. So I had all three that you can win by as well. So it was like a nice rounded. So for me, I was like, oh, you know, amazing.
Yeah.
Can't wait to get that black belt.
Yeah, that's wicked, man. I've loved this as well. This has been really good.
No,
thank you for
having
coming
me.
on.
And you're an
Really appreciate
advocate
it, boys.
for
Really appreciate it.
people, like older people, getting into combat sports. Like anything's achievable.
Mate, anyone can get involved.
Like
Anyone.
you said, that guy said to you, you'll never get your black belt. You got your black belt.
Do you know how much pride I had going back to that club with a black belt around my waist?
Yeah.
Trust me.
Was he a black belt?
Was it this one? No, he's not a black belt still now.
Yeah. See.
He's still not a black belt. So he wrote his own story and
Yeah.
he stuck to it.
Yeah.
He's written his
But
own
that just
story.
shows the mindset.
Yeah, mentality.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. It's been a
That's
pleasure.
wicked, man. And people, I'll put all 210 stuff down below. Go and check the classes out, even if you go for one, if it's something you've never done. Obviously, you've got women's classes and everything.
Yeah,
I've been trying to make my girlfriend go, because she's
Oh, really?
she's quite long. And I'm thinking, yeah, you'd be good for
Yeah.
jiu-jitsu, man. I reckon
So-
she'll wrap some people up.
Yeah, we've got girls only classes. The girls' classes on a Tuesday and a Sunday, taught by two of our blue belts. And we've got classes every day for adults. Apart from Sunday, we canned our Sunday class off so we could have a day off. But yeah, anyone's welcome. First lesson's free. Just come and get involved. No contract, no nothing. We're just a club. Come and have fun. Come and experience it.
Wicked, man. Love it. So people, go check it out. The link's down below. We hope you enjoyed the podcast. Go follow Boyce on Instagram. And peace, people.